Hi, Patricia and Mario.
Hello.
Hi, Sue. I'm going
Hey,
to make you a host.
the hostess with mostest.
Make a co-host. Yeah. Hi, Sam, Mahima, Vicky.
Hey. Hello.
Do we have any idea of how many people are going to be, how many members are going to be joining us?
There's six members that aren't board members at the moment, so there's six more. Who's with us that's number 246 ending?
Stephanie, I think. Yeah.
Stephanie. Okay. Hi, Stephanie. So we'll have to, when there's any voting or anything, we'll have to just get you to speak up. So you're
Oh,
not going to be
I
able to
had to
use the
use,
chat.
can you hear me now? I had to use
Yeah,
star
Yeah.
six.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the new function. Let me know if it remutes me when I press star six.
okay.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes. And Mario's connecting to audio, and then I'll just watch as well. Sue, can you see the wait room as well? The waiting room?
I don't see anyone in the waiting room right
Okay.
now. Nothing's popped up.
Just in case I miss something.
I'm working.
Just going to
Working
mute myself.
Okay.
Hey, Mario.
Hey guys,
Hello.
how's it going?
How are you, Mario?
I'm good. How are
Good.
you all?
Good. Good, good, good.
I got the pleasure of seeing Herb today at work.
Did you?
I love seeing her popping up. So great.
He was, hold on a minute. No, you can hear me. Um, there was a chance of him being on camera because people didn't want to do it and they said, Herb will do it. And then they didn't need him. Somebody was filming.
Oh,
He was
Hi.
excited. He's making tea right now, so he'll be along.
Hi, Linda. How are you? You're muted.
I'm good. How are you?
Hi, it's so great to see you.
Yeah, good. Thank you. It's good to see you too.
Great.
I'm probably just gonna turn off my video while I finish my dinner. That's what it
Great.
is.
Okay. Understood.
But
Hi. No, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Linda. Is Michelle? You're with us by phone as well, Michelle?
I am. I'm here.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome.
How's
Welcome.
it going? Thank you.
Good, good.
I'm here.
Great. So we'll just wait for a bit longer. There were a few more people that registered. Just gonna check to see if there's anybody trying to get a hold of me. So we started the recording on your way in. You should have been prompted that
I
it's
clicked OK.
recording. Okay, okay, great. Everyone did. And the people that are on the phone as well, were you prompted with that, just so you know that it's being recorded?
Yep, no problem.
Great. Michelle, did you want a chance to say something during about your fundraiser as well?
Sure, right now or
I think we'll wait until everyone's here, but at the point we're going to be, I think there's we're going to be sharing with people what our upcoming events are.
Sure, that'd be great. I'd love
Yeah,
that. Thank
okay,
you.
okay. Okay, so we'll wait one more minute until 5 after, and then we'll get started. I'll just warn you that my computer has been a little, well, has been for the last year. It's on my Christmas list to get a new computer. The battery may run out, and I may leave you, but Sue will take over the hosting at that point. So we have everything backed up.
Yep,
Black,
I'm all ready to go.
Black Friday. Get one on Black Friday.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for things to go on. Yeah, and then I'm gonna,
Apparently it's worth the wait.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I think what I'll do is I'll share my screen. And we'll get started. Does everyone have a copy of the agenda as well? I'm not going to be able to put a copy of it up while the presentation is up. Okay, so Sue, did you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, I'd like to just thank everyone for coming to our annual general meeting of the Junction Residents Association. And I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. And we recognize that we live, work, and play on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, the Toronto Purchase, which represents a sovereign relationship between the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Crown. Toronto is the dish with one spoon territory. And if you click one more time, that's our wampum belt that is our treaty. The dish with one spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, the Mississauga, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous peoples and nations, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Under this covenant, we have to share the responsibility of ensuring that the dish is never empty, which includes taking care of the land and the creatures we share it with. We all eat out of the dish with only one spoon, all of us that share this territory. We recognize the original caretakers of the land and the enduring presence of treaties that guide the relationships between nations and with the land for past, present, and future. We are here to work together to build a healthy, caring, and vibrant community where all people can thrive in the present and for generations to come. We also recognize that a land acknowledgement, it's not really enough. So it's just a starting point. In this spirit, we would like to share an Indigenous-led resource called Native Land Digital, and you can use the QR code that you see on the screen. It will take you through to their website, and their mission is to map Indigenous lands in a way that changes, challenges, and improves the way people see history and the present day through mapping, education, and community building. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Great. Okay, so we're going to move on. So we thought we would share with you a bit about just a little bit of information about what our committees and what our activities have been throughout the year. We'll essentially break it up to what the board of directors have been up to, our main activities, our community engagement and events committee as well is going to present to you what we've been up to for the last year. And then there's a development and community spaces update as well. And then we have our environmental stewardship committee as well that has some updates. And then we'll review the finances for last year or year to date, anyways, to the end of September, and then we'll make everything available as well to the end of the year on the website once we get there. And then we also have the projected budget as well for next year that we're going to be voting on. The board of directors are essentially going to be declared this evening because we had only one person in each position. We still have a vice chair position available and one director at large. So if anyone's interested in any of those positions, please do let us know. But for now, we'll just get started. So these are the members of our board for the previous term, 2022 to 2024. Mario Silva, myself, Victoria Claire and Patricia were co-secretaries. Catherine Morley was treasurer. Stephanie Clayton was the communications coordinator, and Samantha Cook was the membership coordinator. And then Sue Fleming and Mahima Madhava were members at large. Now we had brought forward some, we just sort of realized that we weren't working within these parameters as a board. So we felt that we needed to sort of restructure the way that the board was, the model that we used for the board. So we decided to go with an executive with 4 members being members of the executive board, and then having directors at large that essentially do the committee work and also have the same voting rights that the other board members have. So we felt that we needed to restructure the way our model worked, and so we brought forward some recommendations from the board. We brought it forward to our membership, and the new model was approved by our membership unanimously. So now we've changed things up, and so our new board will be based on 2 chairs, or a chair and a vice chair, 1 secretary, a treasurer, and then there'll be 4 to 6 director at large. So our fundraising essentially is still the same from the past year, has been through membership fees, donations, some various other funding sources. We didn't apply for any new grants this year, or weren't approved for any new grants at this point. Sponsorship as well, and then the Function the Junction fundraiser from last year as well. Those were sort of our main areas of, most of our fundraising came from sponsorship last year. So these are our 3 main events, and then we have Join the Junction coming up at the end of the year this year. But this is essentially, these are the sponsors and our posters for the 3 events. There was a Summerfest that took place in the summer, and then Halloween Howl and Function the Junction are our 3 main events that we needed sponsorship money to be able to afford to host those. Our other areas of focus were the organizational governance model, where I had mentioned on September the 11th that our membership had voted unanimously for the new model. We still focus on our relationships with the our 3 elected representatives, and then collaboration with other residents associations through the Federation of South Toronto Residents Association umbrella. Okay, so now that's sort of it for the board. Sam, are you ready to update us on what's happening with the Community Engagement and Event Steering Committee?
Absolutely. All right. So we have many members that have helped over the past year and all of the activities. Do you want me to read out the list, or is it
I don't,
like
yeah,
I don't
you
think
can
so? There's
share.
some people that aren't here, but people that work not just on this committee, but also other people around the neighborhood that do things throughout the year as well. So Andrew is not here today, and Lance. There's a bunch of people listed that aren't here, but we thank them so much for all of their help. We've had Joy in the Junction, which is, I really love that. There's so much community spirit that this generates. So that was on December the 9th, and we hosted 2 sing-along sites, which was really well received. Great engagement with the community. Collected donations for a number of local charities, which is awesome. We were able to share some gift cards with the Sharing Place, the Junction Place, and 4 villages, which is awesome. Also, a successful first function in the Junction. The event was a great success. It raised over almost $9,000 and over 150 people in attendance. And we're looking forward to the next one coming up very soon. Spring, we do 2 community food drives each year, one just prior to Easter in the spring, and then one at Thanksgiving. Both were a great success. In April, we were able to raise over £13,000 of food and $1,500 in cash donations, and 13,000 £13,000 of food actually translates into over 13,000 meals. So really, really wonderful work. And in October, we collected even more at £17,000 of food and our most ever $2,000 in cash, which is awesome. And again, as I said in that list that you saw, there's lots of other community champions and volunteers that are dedicated and come to us in the spring and in the fall to do this with Stephanie and I. So we couldn't be more grateful for their help. And Stephanie, thank you so much for being just a perfect partner in crime, as you can see on the screen, having fun every time. I also know that we've for the past 4 years that Stephanie and I and all the community champions have been involved, we've actually raised more than £76,000 of food. So that's pretty amazing for a little community. We are the largest community food raiser in for Daily Bread in Toronto. So I think that's really great. And as a result, we've been able to attend a couple of food sorts, which is really wonderful because you actually are ending up sorting all the food that we've collected. So it's really, really wonderful to see the next stage where that food goes, how it gets sorted, and then ultimately out into the community, some of which are in our community as well. So we are a small and mighty community that does really great things. Helen, you tell me when you want to take over, so I'm just going to keep speaking.
Oh, no, you can keep speaking. You can run through all of them. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Summer 2024 feels like such a long time now, but that was our 3rd annual JRA Summerfest, formerly called the Community Fun Day. I love it when we can formally call things out, and that happened on June 22nd. Lots of great energy, music, games, fun, smiles, happiness. Really great event. This just happened. It's so fresh. The JRA Halloween Howl, again, 3rd one coming back. It's really nice to see that we're able to keep repeating these really, really fabulous events. So that was awesome. And that was on October the 26th at Malta Park. Got lots of things coming up. I can't believe November the 14th is next week. So we've got Function in the Junction. So please consider, if you haven't already, purchasing a ticket there. And then we've got December 14th, which is also awesome. We've got Joy in the Junction as well, where you can volunteer to sing or just come visit. And I'm sure you'll get a candy cane and some beautiful music. So we're at the St. John's Gazebo. So come see us between 1:30 and 3.
Great, thank you. Now Michelle, this is where I can invite you if you wanted to say a little bit about the fundraiser that you're going to be hosting.
Sure, absolutely.
November.
Thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Michelle. I'm a business owner in the area. I own Loved and Found and Paradigm Events. I've been in the Junction now for close to 30 years and been in this building on Dundas for 20. And we, fortunate for us, opened up Loved and Found 3 days before the world shut down during the pandemic. But we're still here, and Loved and Found is a vintage and consignment store. And it's really a neighborhood store. So most of our consigners live in the neighborhood, and most of our consumers live in the neighborhood. And we are hosting a fashion show on November 20th at my house and my house in the Junction. For those of you that are not familiar, we always have to clarify. It's across from Nodo, not my house. And they will have doors open at 7. They're going to have a cocktail menu, a bar menu available for guests. We'll have a silent auction, as this is a benefit for Abuse Hurts, which is actually our ongoing charity. So we donate monthly to Abuse Hurts, any leftover clothing, as well as often some funds. And all of the models are from the community. So there are residents. We have many business owners at Thule, who is on this call, is going to be strutting her stuff. Stu is going to be our MC, and we've got lots of other participants from the neighborhood. Amanda from Wave Hair Salon, and Natalia from the local spa. So you name it, it's all community, and money all goes towards Abuse Hurts. We'll have a DJ, a silent auction, and of course, a wearable vintage fashion show. So I'll put some information in the chat, and thanks for the opportunity to mention the event.
Great. No, thank you for doing that. It sounds like a really fun event. Okay, so this is where we say that volunteers make it happen. We are a volunteer-led. We're fueled by volunteers. So including our community champions that Sam had mentioned earlier that help us to facilitate all those wonderful daily bread food drives that we do. We also have plenty of opportunities for high school, if you know any high school students who are looking for hours. And we're always looking for event volunteers as well, including for the function the Junction. We still do need some volunteers for that as well. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the community and the Development and Community Spaces Steering Committee, and then a little bit more of an update about the Design Your Main Street. And Mario's going to take this over now.
Oh, great. Hey, everyone. Next slide, Helen.
Okay.
So the Development and Community Spaces Committee consists of 4 members. They're listed on there: Vicky, Sue, myself, and Helen. And there are a variety of undertakings that occur with this group. The one that I'm predominantly involved with is with the Development Committee, and that the intention of this committee was to, excuse me, be apprised of changes that are occurring in our neighborhood. And for the most part, they're derived from proposals to the city for development. And that's usually the kind of thing that strikes up a chord and within the area. And there was no way before we sort of formed as a group to siphon the discussion into an opportunity to be proactive and be supportive. For the most part, what we hear from our neighbors is often an element of uncertainty and anxiety about the change. So we help not so much to tell them what to do or take responsibility for what we see as a sort of a very heavy-handed kind of an approach that occurs at the city in responding to the development pressures. Our job as volunteers essentially is one, just to keep our hands on the pulse of change. We monitor development. I know there's 3 big ones on Dundas. One was approved. It's a Garlic one. The other one still, I think, is in play. And by that, I mean, I don't think it's been finally approved. And then the third one, which I understand Terra Firma Homes is got a proposal in. They had a community meeting a while back. In terms of any appeals to the Ontario Lands Tribunals, sometimes we are asked to provide support. A letter was drafted in regard to the one with Gerlach's proposal, his first one that's been since approved. Couldn't tell you what the unit count is there, but our job is basically to tell the Ontario Municipal Board member or the Ontario Lands Tribunal Board member, and that letter was to say, look, the challenge we have as a community is the uncertainty around what change looks like along our avenues. And this is going to lead me into the other part of this discussion about the avenue study that we supported in advocating for a tool the city could use in ensuring that they don't lose sight of the importance of main streets. So we, with a grant from the federal government a couple of years ago, did a study on of Dundas. We interviewed residents, businesses, and we put together a proposal that essentially amounted to what we believed to we were pretty much aware of, and that was that there were a lot of angst about the change and what does that look like. And in the context of the city's official plan, we thought that this would have been a really important opportunity for us to inform staff and the local council in particular about looking at developments in a different way. So we broke up the study in two phases. The first one is a collection of feedback, and then we reported that to the board. We shared it actually with the councillor by way of a call like this. We didn't present formally the results of the study, but an interesting outcome of this was that I know we made an impression on the councillor, because at council they've passed a housing advocacy plan that essentially recognizes the avenues across the city as an important part of achieving housing supply. So Dundas is an avenue. And by virtue of that exercise at the city and the context for that housing action plan, it's almost made our work with the design, with the avenue study redundant. We don't have to now advocate for more attention on Dundas in terms of what we like to see as a vision for the development of the area. The city has in fact usurped that activity, and it's a good thing. So all said and done, it's made our jobs a lot easier with respect to this avenues study. And they're undergoing a second phase of consultation. It's on the website. It's not hard to see. We participated in the first one at the meeting I attended. I can't remember if I asked any questions, but it's not hard to do in terms of engaging in a conversation with the city staff. It's a very easy session to listen to and become excited about, to tell you the truth, which makes this process an important one with a lot of implications for us. So I think the development committee, in closing, has been effective. It's an ongoing kind of a thing, being on top of the development and the changes at the city. And the most important thing we can do as a JRA is to be engaged with the city and ensuring that we're there, we're paying very close attention, we'll become politically active, and we aren't afraid to rattle the cages if necessary. One good example was, and I don't want to take up any more time than I already have, but the expansion of the hospital, Runnymede Hospital, chronic care place. We were approached by a neighbor who was him and many of the residents were upset with the nature of the construction parameters around the development of that site. And as much as we tried to advocate on his behalf, just by virtue of a formal organization like us, lend some credence to the city's lend some credence to the concerns about the noise and so forth. In any event, I'm not sure how effective we were there, but it takes a lot more time to be involved at that level. But long and short of it is, we do what we can in supporting our neighbors, ensuring that we're on the radar. So on that note, I don't think I have any more slides here, right? So that's environmental stewardship. And that's my summary.
Just a quick note. Thank you. Thank you, Mario. That was great. Just a quick note that on this, at the bottom here of this slide, you'll see that there's on our website under the Design Your Main Street page or heading, you can access the presentation from the September 18th meeting that the city had hosted. And you can also click to a link for registering for the upcoming consultations that Mario had mentioned as well. That's the only other thing.
Thanks for that, Ellen.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the environmental stewardship, and Vicky and Patricia are going to guide us through this.
Hello. I'm here to talk about the Clean Toronto Together program that we did for the second time or third time, I think, in April. It was another horrible day, not quite as horrible as last year, but still not the nicest day. And I think there was a little bit of snow in the end. A small but mighty, well, a small and enthusiastic group of people gathered and brought their findings to Malta Park, where you see us collecting the last final bits. And this was all picked up by the City of Toronto. Efforts like this are happening all over the city. So if you have time and are available to take 30 minutes near your home or to fill a bag, depending on how dirty what your neighborhood is like, you can gather those things. You can put it in your own garbage, which is why we can't really say this is representative of all that was collected on the day. Because people can, if you don't have so much, you can absorb that into your own garbage. So, or recycling, important differences. The day was supported by the local representatives. Batila and Goldperks both promoted our event beforehand, and Stephanie did the Instagram for the JRA for us. So the word got out far and wide. We'll do it again next year. Every little bit helps. So that's all there is to say on that. Patricia.
Great, thanks, Vicki. So an update on Junction for trees. And this year, we did continue to share our tree knowledge at our community events, and also to update all the resources that we have on our JRA website. In April of this year, we did participate in a tree equity score survey, which is a collaborative project that was implemented by Leith and the City of Toronto. The goal of the survey is to understand more about the needs and interest of community groups that are working on tree issues. We haven't heard an update back yet from Leith, but we'll look out for that in the near future. And then just about watering trees, we still have a very committed group of local residents who continue to water our hardworking street trees along Dundas. So this past summer, we did have one of the wettest summers in recent history, as you can see in the chart. But in spite of that, we still had the 5 volunteers watering 3 routes along Dundas. 2 of the volunteers were new, this past year. One of them coming from a JRA callout. So I know that the lead is very keen and grateful for that support from the JRA. And she will be reaching out to us to let us know when she's ready to start up again next spring. She also wanted to share with us that the City of Toronto did generously mulch the trees this year, providing really good protection for the trees over the winter. And that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, both Vicky and Patricia. So I think the next is going to be me. I do believe it's the financial stuff. Yes, the finance. So Katie couldn't be with us this evening, so I will try my best to go over the financial items. So this is essentially, I'm not sure how well you can see it. I'm going to actually look at my paper because my eyes are very poor. So this is essentially our balance sheet year to date, September 30th, 2024. And then we'll make, once we get the last 4 months sorted out, we'll have a full statement for the year available online as well. So this is essentially what our community account, which is our regular TD account. It's the TD community checking account. It has 16,243.67 as of September 30th. And then our lottery license, we have a trust account for our raffle. It had $5.70 in it as well. Our PayPal account had 116.63. And so our grand total between our all our accounts had 16,366.20. So a healthy amount. We're going to be spending quite a bit though for the function, the Junction, and we did spend money for the Halloween Howl as well out of this, so it will be a little bit different. So the main income, this is our income listed for the year. PayPal memberships came in at $265. PayPal donations were $20.91. TD Bank memberships were $210. TD account donations were $418.15. Our bank fees, it was a bank fee rebate because if we keep a minimum amount of money, we get our bank fees back, which is awfully nice of them. $17.55. We had a tax refund that was connected to the Canada Summer Jobs program. We had hired in 2022, 2023, we had hired 2 students through the Canada Summer Jobs program. And through that program, we had an obligation to pay all the MERCs, all the mandatory employment payments like EI and holiday. There's statutory or the statutory holidays, Canada pension. So we had that requirement. Apparently we must have overpaid with it, and we have a tax refund that we're going to keep in the bank just in case CRA comes looking for us. Halloween Howl sponsorships came in at 1,250. The Function the Junction sponsorships came in at 13,400. Function the Junction ticket sales so far were $255. The Function the Junction, oh no, we didn't. Okay, sorry, that was early bird. There was nothing there. Our Hate Has No Home Here campaign, where we sell the signs and the decals, came in at 111.04 into our TD account. Design Your Main Street didn't have anything. Hate Has No Home Here. PayPal, we raised 36.67 through that one. And then we had some wonderful sponsors sponsor our tents because the hot sun was making it very difficult for us to table at the farmers markets and at our own events. So we had some sponsors give us sponsorship money, which was $1,500 towards our tents. And then we had our transfer from our PayPal account. We transferred $360.13 out into that account. So now that's the total income that came in year to date was $19,766.79. Our expenses, PayPal expenses were $12.37. TD bank account expenses were $23.80. TD trust account was $2.50. Our insurance was $2,258.28. The tents and the promos were $1,716.25. Our website, because we did a 3-year subscription, we didn't pay anything this year. We donated, we sponsored the West Toronto Artists Art Tour this year for $100. Our Summerfest expenses were $4,692.73. Our Summerfest expenses from our trust account were $249.04. Halloween Howl expenses to date were $373.05. And then from the trust account, it was $556.51. Function in the Junction expenses to September 30th to date was $273.96. From the trust account was $47.40. And then just other, the other categories had $74.63. And events, general event supplies were $313.17. So we ended up having the total expenses to September 30th of this year, year to date, were $11,053.82, which left us with a surplus of $8,712.97 for that period. So now with those numbers past us, this was our budget, our projected budget for 2024 of this year that we had put together last year in 2023. So we exceeded what we by a couple $1,000 what we were hoping to bring in through revenue. So we did end up exceeding with the carryover from 2023. And our expenses came in pretty close to what they are now. There will be quite a few more expenses because of the function the Junction will need to pay for the bar tab and for the food as well. Yeah, so that was from last year. So this year we're going to have different numbers. We're gonna be even more ambitious this year. We'll see how we do. But this is sort of our projected, what we hope to bring in from revenue is for 29,900. And these are again our expenses, 21,805. These will be our expenses and what we've budgeted, sort of the proposed budget for each of the events. Yeah, so this is the budget, the proposed budget that we're going to be voting on in a little bit after everyone has a chance to ask some questions and such. Let's see where we're at next. Okay, so now it's time for Q&A. So this is a time for you to get a chance to ask us some questions. So if anyone has any questions, please let us know about any of what you've just seen, any other questions you have, if you have any ideas that you'd like to put forward as well.
I had a couple of questions for Mario. So yeah, it looks like a lot of great work has been done on the Avenue front and advocating for how we want to use what type of development we want to see. So Mario, how confident are you that any OMB appeals would ever be successful? And I'm only asking because I know a few of my friends that have been involved with their organizations. And one of them was actually in the news, the one at Bayview, just north of Eglinton, where, you know, they went to the, I think it's the Land Tribunal now. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, like, from your perspective, are any of those appeals to the Land Tribunal ever successful?
Well, it depends on who is making the appeal. Usually, the appeals are based on a developer's um, um, oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mm-hmm.
He's just not happy with either. Usually, what triggers the appeal to the lands tribunal is usually a developer's challenge with respect to either hiccups in reviews the city
Mm-hmm.
might be taking too long with. It might be arising from negotiations with the counselor that have gone sour, and they want a remedy in terms of the timing. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
usually it, and it's often in the guise of a time the schedule delay. When in reality, what they want is an opportunity to make a case fresh with the member for maybe perhaps more density, and they usually hang the threat of more density to the city, so the city can rush and accommodate the what could have been a better proposal before the appeal. So the strategy for a
Mm-hmm.
developer is they'll never go with what the city has negotiated in terms of what would have been more receptive to the community. They go with what is almost an entirely different package to the Ontario to the land tribunal, because that's the way it evolved over the years. It went from under Wynne, where the pendulum swung to more community-based uh, reviews, where council had the final say, really, and it would only have gone to the land tribunal for a different reason, like a policy reason or whatever. But so, what are the chances of us, for instance, going to the land tribunal? Well, you need deep pockets, Linda, for one, and
Yeah.
to oppose a development when amidst what we know the city is already providing resources to. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the Bayview
Mm-hmm.
example, but it really is hard to tell unless we know what the circumstances are. I know in the case of the one here with Gerlach, and Sue's familiar with this too. What they ended up getting was a minor change from what they initially were proposing. So,
Yeah.
is it a win for him?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Still a huge
Mm-hmm.
investment to be making,
Mm-hmm.
to be going to the land tribunal. But as a resident, as a neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
you should always be mindful of these applications, and at the very least engage the counselor. And the interesting thing that I don't want to talk too much about the stuff here, but the important thing is that I think a make or break situation with these applications before the tribunal is the relationship that exists between the community and the counselor. If
Mm-hmm.
they're seen as agents for positive change, if they're seen in the context of advocating on their behalf, and there's some trust there, I think the outcomes can work really well. If the
Mm-hmm.
communities don't trust them and they're critical of staff, it's really hard for them to go in there and secure what they think they should be getting on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
And of
Mm-hmm.
course, the developers love the chaos because it creates an opening for them to secure what they would have otherwise been denied.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that. The other thing I wanted to just raise, and I only mentioned because I know that we were trying to get an avenue study, and maybe it's not the right word, to extend west of Runnymede, like to
Mm-hmm.
get them to consider. But what's happening now, and you probably know this, but I brought it up to Councillor Perks, and I asked someone in his office, like he had someone in his office respond to me that there's two sites. One where the beer store was on Dundas is now this like massive storage unit.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
looks like it's so close to the sidewalk as well. So, I mean, missed opportunity for a nice wide sidewalk, but I haven't gone up. And I asked the city about that, and it looks like there's an application, or there's one that's going in the old LCBO site, like the site beside the LCBO,
Mm-hmm.
just like a few sites down.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, like, how does this happen? Like, who the heck wants this? And why as a city do we need so many storage units? And then why wouldn't they consider housing on that side? And the response I got was that that's an employment area.
Yeah.
It's designated employment. So how many people does a storage unit employ? Like, so, and then they also said that, well, as long as they're within the parameters, people can kind of build whatever they want. So it's really unfortunate that the counselor did not, capture that part. Because I mean, now, that's going to happen,
Yeah.
right? So,
I agree. Like when we did
yeah,
when we did our
crazy.
study and we hired those kids to do the work, one of the things we were
Yeah,
hoping to have happen was they'd extend the avenue review over to Jane. But
yeah,
that area to the north as an employment area is such a sensitive use to the city, and they want to protect that. And
yeah.
it does kind of impact on those avenues, because the avenues are really about increasing, at least for the avenues that support the housing action plan stuff. They want to introduce residential development, and Linda, I don't know if
Yeah.
that application would have occurred before the avenue stuff. And interestingly,
Mhm.
Linda, many of these consultations and stuff, they're happening now. They won't be implemented for a while. And as a result, there's a window gap
Mhm.
right now that developers and property owners along those streets will see to submit stuff before they can't. So that's the context. So in terms of how did
Mhm.
this happen? It happened because there's a void. Why did it happen? It happened because the official plan policies as it relates to that avenue support that development, and
Mhm.
that's really
Yeah.
where we are.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said there wouldn't have been like a consultation because it was all within the parameters of the city.
Employment. Yeah.
And I just was like, we went from this like one level story thing to this monstrosity that's not even a condo, it's storage units. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, how many storage units? There's already the one at off of Dundas, Keel, just north of Dundas. There's one there on Vine Avenue. Now there'll be two more. Like, how much storage do the city need? So um, that was that. And then I just had a question about function in the junction.
Yes.
When I was looking at and it sounds like a great event, so it's not that. I'm just wondering, like, do we get a net out of that in terms of the expenses and then what we get for fundraising? I mean, is that
Yes.
a net positive for us? Okay.
It is. It was the
Yeah.
9,000, that almost 9,000 that we made last year was our net positive.
Oh, awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's what we came out of the event, and that's the money that then we used to host the events.
Right.
Yeah, so the bulk of the money raised was through the sponsorship, but that sponsorship paid for the expenses for so the function the junction sponsorship package that we put together for the sponsors are to sponsor the function the junction event itself, the fundraising event. And also to partner with us for next year.
Okay.
So all of the sponsors that sponsored for this year's for this event coming up on the 14th will be partnering with us for next year. So it's that money. So that's why we had the 13,000 that we brought in worth from the sponsors that are going to be partnering for that. So we haven't, the expenses will be pulled out of that for not for the function of the junction, the November 14th fundraising event that's at 30:30. And then we'll allocate whatever money is left over to all the other events that we host, our insurance, to cover all those costs. Now it's not, we haven't had as many ticket sales this year. So we'll have to see how we land after the expenses. Yeah. So anyways, did that answer your question? Is that?
Yeah. I was just, because when I was looking at the chart, I just didn't, it was just a question I had before you moved away from the slide, but I knew I would be able to ask. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And just for this disclosure to Mario about the Runnymede long-term care. Full disclosure, I'm trying to get my mom into that. So I'm actually very happy with it.
It's a beautiful facility. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't like the
yeah.
way they approached this.
I know.
We talked about this before. Like on top of having a sensitive site, they had an old building there, a heritage building. The
Yeah,
province ran roughshod over a community. They did
yeah,
that expansion in 2 stages when they should have done it in one. There was
yeah,
budget pressures there that did that. So, and the add insult to injury, they eliminated what was an old, beautiful building there, and they could have kept it. Anyways,
yeah,
don't get me started. But
yeah,
yeah, it was a flawed proposal, but the premise is a good one. That
yeah,
serves the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
community,
I
a
know.
social piece of infrastructure. How can you
Yeah,
argue with that?
yeah, exactly. Okay. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who has any questions? No, so shall we?
Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Julie.
I was off camera.
Julie.
Sorry. Thank you guys so much. I wish there was a way for more people in the junction to know how many great things are done behind the scenes. I think even me sometimes I'm looking at this and the Clean Toronto Together. Honestly, love, like, thank you. I have a question for you, Helen. So out of all the events you're hosting, so you've pretty much brought it to Halloween Howl, Summerfest, and the Junction, the Function. What would you say is your easiest and a must every year?
Are we including the food drives?
No, I think the food
Okay,
drive
just
is
the
automatic.
food drive is actually that's our crown.
No, I
That's
think
our,
I don't think
that's
that.
the yeah, if we ever had to stop everything else, the food drive and probably Joy and the Junction would be the ones that we keep because they actually do a lot of good in the community. The one that has the least work is probably Halloween Howl is the least work.
The most fun, probably too.
It's a lot of fun. I think it gets people ready to go into the winter time, and it's sort of our Summerfest is what launches summer for people. That's how we intend it. It's and then this one just, I don't know, it's nice. The kids are back at school and it's an opportunity for them to be out with their costumes before they go for Halloween, and it's fun. But
That's it.
it's also the easiest because we don't have now, actually, the ones at the park, none of them are easy because of the permit process that the city has. So I have to disclose that every permit process is a nightmare. Anyways, did that answer your question, Julie? Or
Thank you.
okay, wonderful. Okay, Mahima.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, to Helen, that I think, as we do the events more, year over year, there are certain things that we do know. So that kind of makes it a little easier. But like you said, the permit process is it's the same process regardless of whether it's kind of a small event or a large event or the type of event sizes that we put on. But I think as we do them year over year, they do get a little bit right. We just know what we're doing, I think, better.
Exactly. Yeah, and we learn what works well and what doesn't and what can drop off. And we could work with whatever budget now because we've gone from having Thule be our only sponsor, and that was essentially our only money, and charging people for food because we had to sell food for the barbecue. We didn't have it to then we had the food is all free. So all of our events that I think, to me, that's my favorite, is that every event that we host, there's no money exchanged. People can make donations if they'd like, but everything is absolutely we feed the neighborhood at all of our events for free, except for the Function, the Junction, because that's our fundraiser. That's how we make money to be able to offer all these. So no family, no person ever has to worry about how much money they have in their pocket when they come out to our events, and that's really important to us. And it meets the values of our organization as well. Okay, are there any other questions? Are we ready to go on to the voting? Let's see if I can
Yes,
get
let's.
to the next slide here. Okay, so oh, I somehow have made it right. Oops, oopsie daisies. I've made it right to the beginning now. Oh dear, what did I do? Okay, sorry, my apologies. I'll get through this quickly. We'll just have a look at our year again. Okay, so this is the voting. So we're gonna, the only voting item we do have is the 2025 projected budget. It's what, I mean, it's aspirational. So this is if we have no idea whether we're gonna raise that much money, but that's how much we'd like. So this is, we can vote in the chat, and anyone who's on the phone can just let us know whether they're in agreement or whether they're against.
Can we
Did
raise our
everyone-
I'd
hand?
like to introduce a
raise your hand.
second voter.
Oh, a second voter. I have a second voter here too. Yeah, so I should. Jim, you're a second voter, right?
Yeah.
You need to come on over. Review the proposed budget and everything. Good job.
What am I voting on?
The proposed budget. No, the board members are all, we're just declaring board members because there's,
Okay.
yeah. So just for the projected budget. So I'm going to have to try to get into the chat. Oh, I can go into the chat. Okay, so if you want to just write in the chat or
I'm just unmuting to
verbally.
just say I'm in favor of the budget.
So
That's
Stephanie. Stephanie's in favor. Okay. So Stephanie. Whoops.
So you want, like, I'm in favor of the budget.
Okay. Yeah.
I
we
said
we'll record it within the chat, and then I'll say
Within the chat? Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll have it recorded that way. But if you'd like to just raise your hand as well, or do a voice, then I'll type it into in the chat as well.
I think I've sent a message says two votes in favor recorded.
Okay. Mario, is there something that you?
No, I was just raising my hand to support. Sorry.
Oh, in support. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, so I'll go back to the chat then. Okay, so
I don't see any opposition.
Share that. Okay, so I'm going to try to get back into the chat. And so Mario's in favor. Okay, and we have Jim's in favor.
So with the 2 additional voters, we should have 13 in favor.
So then we've got it then. If there's 13, has everyone recorded their vote? Either in the chats, do we have everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, okay,
Yeah.
then it's passed, and we'll see how well we do, and we'll let you know how well we do next year.
Tremendous.
Okay, wonderful. So now on to the board. First thing that I want to do is thank both Patricia and Mario for the last 2 years of service on the board. Your contributions have been immense, and we'll miss you. But I know that you're around and you're going to be volunteering and such. And okay, I'm going to cry now. Anyways, all your contributions were very much appreciated. Okay.
You're very welcome, Helen. I'm always here.
I know you're going to be around. You're still going to be volunteering and stuff. So
Absolutely.
it's all good. Okay, so I myself, I did put my name forward again to serve as the chair. we're still looking for a vice chair, but it's the vice chair to support the chair is mostly admin work, which a lot of people aren't either just don't have the time for or aren't fond of it. And to be honest, I get it. Uh, anyhow,
Hey, Helen, I think for what it's worth, I just wanted to say how easy it was to be affiliated with the JRA in this formal way because of the work, the wonderful work you all do. I'm astounded and surprised all the time. Every time there's an event coming up, and I've been involved peripherally in at those events, and even administratively supporting you in some instances non-existent. And that's the reason why I think, in fairness to the rest of the team, the rest of our colleagues there, I think there'd be someone much more deserving of that role. It's a leadership role that isn't just about running this stuff, Helen. It's also about being the representative at events, speaking on behalf of the JRA. And that is something that I see in all our capabilities. The question is it something that you'd want to take on in terms of just establishing that profile? I know for me, you were kind enough to let me do the easy stuff when it came to development, or whether it was a presentation at a meeting with the city or whatever. I was more than happy to do that. It was easy simply because my work is professionally relates to that. So I thought it was an easy done, but I think I was doing a disservice to all of you by not coming out as often as I was and doing some of that stuff. And that's the reason why I stepped back. It wasn't for lack of affection for the JRA. It is immensely important to me. I founded the RVNA, and I sure as hell wouldn't want to compromise the good work that you all do. So, in any capacity, whatever work and stuff you need on behalf of the JRA, you can count on me to do that.
Oh, thank you, Mario. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so that's it. I put my name forward again. I enjoy being chair. I'm driven by community building, and this gives me an opportunity to work on that passion. I love bringing people together. I love knowing that we care for each other in our neighborhood, and I'm the person in an organization who will keep things moving forward, and I love doing it. So I've put my name forward. It was an easy choice for me. So I will be the chair for the next 2 years, and I'm happy to be doing it. Secretary Victoria Claire, Vicky stepped in again to be secretary. So thank you, Vicky. I don't know if you wanted to say a couple of words. We're all being declared, by the way, because there weren't many votes.
You're welcome, and thank you, and I look forward to more. And a funny little sideways story. I opened the door this morning about 6 o'clock on my way out to work, as you do, and there was this black lump there, and I thought, oh no, it's not another cat, is it? And no, it was a bag with food in it. There was some opened wine gums, some out of date maple syrup, table syrup, yeah. Some tortilla or roti, which are in good order on the date, a can of something, and a piece of paper that said, drop your bags off to my porch. So they did, just a little bit late. Not sure, some of it will be making its way to you, to the food bank tomorrow, but not everything, because we know to check. Okay. And we've decided not to eat the wine gums, though they were tempting. But it's open. Anyway.
Nice surprise.
Yeah. So, but this is what comes of being, part of the JRA. You never know what's going to happen next. And on to the next.
Sorry about that. Catherine Morley has put her name forward again to be treasurer. Yeah, because that's another one that, yeah. Anyways, so we do have a treasurer, and Catherine is happy to do it again. So we're pleased with that. And then we have 5 wonderful directors at large who have put their names forward. Stephanie, did you want to say a few words, Stephanie? Stephanie Clayton?
Stephanie may have trouble.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she's just getting into the car, so
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Oh dear.
because she
Okay.
says woohoo, I'm sure.
Woohoo. Fantastic. Yes. So Sam,
Yes.
yes, would you like to say a few words?
I feel like I've lived in this community for a long time, but meeting you all and working alongside you has made this place feel like home to me. So I am looking forward to continuing to work with you guys and hopefully getting a lot more activity for this coming year. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
And Mahima Madhava.
Yeah, I think I echo what sort of everyone said. I love this neighborhood. I'm a firm believer in, it's one thing to have a nice community, but communities are made and built, and they need to be loved and cared, like all of our environmental initiatives. And I believe in community building, and I love working with the people here and the neighbors. And when people talk about Toronto who aren't from Toronto, they kind of see it as a big bad city, but it's not my experience here. So I'm just really, really happy to be working in whatever capacity, whether it's behind the scenes or at the events or fundraising. And it's lovely to work with everybody here. So I feel really, really fortunate.
Thank you, Mahima. And Sue Fleming.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so absolutely, same. And what I love about being part of this is that I feel like we are setting the neighborhood in a trajectory that will mean that future residents, future generations can benefit from the work that we've done. I think that creating this sense of community really helps sort of shape the junction in a way that makes people want to continue seeing these events. And I think it's critical to be able to keep this sense of community going. And I'm very happy to be part of that.
Thank you. And Julie Parabets. Welcome.
I think I echo everything everybody said. Like it's so incredible. And for me, honestly, I tell people it feels like being on Cheers episode. Like I'm aging myself, but just to walk around and be like, hi, and that makes my day. And I get to live here. And thank you guys for everything that you do. And me and my little guys, we try to do as best as we can do. So it's a privilege to be where we are.
Thank you. So, this is our board for the next 2 years, and we'll work as hard as we can to make our membership proud and to be as representative of our membership as possible, and to make everyone feel welcome in our community over the next 2 years. One of our goals is to start meeting in person more. And so we're hoping to find more spaces where we can actually meet in person. The AGM will probably always be done online just to allow for more opportunities for people to join. But I think one of the things that we're hoping to focus on is to find more community spaces where we can meet and chat and really get to know each other and feel more connected, as well as a membership. So that's something we're hoping to, because it's nice to see you all virtually but it would be great to meet in person as well sometime. So I think that's a wrap for the AGM. Does anyone else have any other Any other questions, comments, anything at all?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you so much for taking your time out of this Thursday evening to join
Thank
Thanks,
you so much,
everyone.
everyone.
us. Thank you. Good night.
Take
Night.
care,
Bye.
everybody. Night.
Thanks
Good
so
night.
much.
Bye.
Bye all.
Night.